So we just wrapped up talking about Trump's speech in Iowa. Now I want to look at his supporters as they were entering this event. Right Side Broadcasting had a guy on the ground there talking to people as they were walking in. And some wacky stuff. The last clip, I'm going to save it for the end. The last clip I'm going to show you will be when everything just kind of goes terribly wrong and falls apart. And it's quite the disaster. But before that, other wacky stuff to look at. The first series of clips I want to show you has to do with this thing that I feel Trump supporters have to be doing, which is kind of gaslighting everyone who doesn't support Trump and playing a joke almost in this type of setting, because he asks about Trump. And the first thing that comes to mind for many of them as to why they love Trump is how honest he is. I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things about Trump. Honest, not one that I think many people will agree to. But take a look at this.
And Trump, what do you miss about him the most?
Well, that's his
Everything, right? Yeah.
Realness.
Realness, yeah.
Everything.
America loving.
Straight talk.
He loves us.
He does.
He loves us. He's never lied. He's kept all his promises.
And Trump, what do you miss about
He's never lied. He's kept all of his promises. It's just a whole different world. A whole different world. The wild thing is, some I get, if they're getting their news from one place, they would think, no, that's fake news, the other things, but this is actually good. And Trump's being honest here, and they're lying about him lying, but some things he said and then he didn't do. And you would admit that he said it and that he didn't do it. For example, he said he was going to propose an infrastructure plan. He never did. Just simple things like that. Said he was going to do it, never did it. Said he was going to have a healthcare plan that was way better than Obamacare, never did it. Those things you can verify, even if you don't trust any other news outlets besides the ones you follow. You can still verify based on his words and his actions. Pretty bonkers. Then hear another person sharing this sentiment.
We do.
what do you miss the most about President Trump?
Truth and honesty.
Yeah.
Truth and honesty.
Yeah.
That he truly cares about Americans.
He cares about America.
At least as far as it's been documented, no president has lied as much as Trump. Just tens of thousands of lies have exited that man's face. And it's, again, it feels like they're pranking us to say that confidently when it could not be further from the truth. And then one more example of this.
Biggest things you miss about President Trump?
The frankness, the honesty.
Honesty, yeah.
It's been said before, but I think some of what people are getting wrong here is being blunt, or being, as they see it, not politically correct or anti-woke doesn't necessarily mean you're being honest, right? You can say things that are blunt and still be really dishonest. And I think people mistake his kind of not politician-y style of speaking and his scandals, where all these different things that he's done have come out, and his kind of inability to communicate effectively. They mistake that for honesty, because clearly he's just giving it to us as it is with all the flaws. But he can have all those things. He can be super blunt on stage or whatever that you like, and also be really dishonest, as has been verified time and time again. Then we get to the January 6th conspiracy theories. You see it start at Trump or Tucker Carlson and then trickle down, and you talk to people on the ground very much buying into these lies.
Well, let's keep that up.
Well, they're finding out that the people that really did the damage weren't Trump supporters, they were Antifa or Black Lives Matter.
Let's just...
So when I've gone to rallies and talked to Trump supporters, that's a common one, that it was Antifa, Black Lives Matter who actually did January 6th. And that individual thinks that Tucker proved that. And it just is not true. We've talked about this on the show. It's just not true. And it's stunning watching Tucker try to distract from the truth of January 6th in a very lazy and ineffective way. And you'll be watching on screen what he's showing you, what's supposed to be proving the things that he's saying. And his narration is saying, see, this is showing X, Y, or Z. And you're just not seeing X, Y, or Z with this whole January 6th piece he's doing with the security footage. And that supporter very likely didn't even see the thing that he thinks proves that it was Antifa and BLM, but heard that that was proven. Does that make sense? He was told Tucker proved it. Often that's how it goes. Then a lady saying that Trump is king.
Be the people, the
Trump
comeback
is
tour.
king.
Now, Trump is king in Iowa.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's king everywhere.
He's a king everywhere.
All over the world.
Yeah, be the...
Yikes. That sounds like a nightmare I've had before. And then moving forward, we're getting to that moment when everything just goes terribly wrong. But there were counter protesters who had a sign saying Trump is a traitor. And they were very confused as to why someone would believe that.
He's at the White House.
Yeah, see if we can get a good shot of that. Traitor. Traitor for what?
That's what I said to him. I said, traitor for what?
He's America first. What?
He's hugging the American flag.
He's
That's
fighting
going
for
on the
America.
ground.
I don't understand these people.
We don't either.
She said he's hugging the American flag. He has indeed hugged the American flag. I don't know how that makes him necessarily not a traitor, but just to explain it in case that individual were to ever see this, or if you're curious, why would Trump be a traitor? To me, it's pretty traitorous to be the president of the United States, lose an election, and then because you can't take the fact that you lost, because you don't want to give up the power because you lost, you attempt to stay president, stay in the White House, come up with this whole plan to select an alternate slate of electors, and Pence will do this to throw into a constitutional crisis. Trump can say, I have to stay president and we can't do the peaceful transition of power. That's what was going on, an attempted coup. That to me makes you a traitor when you attempt to overthrow a democratic process, all based on lies that you've told about the election. Then things start unraveling. This is the second to last clip. When you'll see, there's some cutting in line accusations.
What's your name?
Brian, Right Side Broadcasting. Thank
He
you.
likes Trump so much he cut in line in front of 800 people.
Did you?
Walked up with no courtesy to anybody else in line.
I did not know I wrapped around the corner. I saw you guys at the back.
But you never moved when we informed you.
No. Let's be a negotiator. So Trump's a
We are.
negotiator.
He's a
Okay,
the art
negotiator.
of the deal.
But look at all look at the senior citizens that he cut in front of. All about him.
No, I'm.
Remember the show People's Court? Remember People's Court? Judge Walkner?
Oh yeah.
Dun 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 dun. All right. Well, let's maybe give him a hall pass. a
Well,
little
I
bit.
didn't knock him down.
That's right. Are we gonna be all right?
I'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, true that. No cuts, no butts, no coconuts, as the kids used to say. That's what I was saying back in grade school. And then here's where things just, and the interviewer, I'm blanking on the guy's name. I know we've covered him before, the Right Side Broadcasting guy, but he doesn't know how to bring things back to reason.
To our newsletter, rsbnetwork.com/newsletter.
Grab her by the pussy.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, don't do that.
Not much
Hey, how you doing?
Go to our website. That's all I'm going to say. To our newsletter.
So if you missed it, a Trump supporter walked by and shouted, grab her by the P word. And then the Right Side Broadcasting guy didn't quite know how to recover. And I know a right winger or a Trump supporter would say he was just kidding because the media is always focusing on that. Yeah, isn't it real funny that our former president and most likely Republican nominee just openly talked about that? Just openly bragged about sexual assault? Isn't that hilarious. So there's that. Wild stuff, guys. Let me know what you think. Luke P. Beasley on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the full bonus show every single Saturday, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Link in the description.